Eto na mga boss, kakapasok lang na balita. Grabe si VP Sara Duterte. Nagulat, binasahan na ng impeachment. Inilabas na ang ebidensya. Binulgar ng Vice President. Base sa impormasyong kumakalat ngayon sa social media, inisa-isa na ni Attorney Congresswoman Jinky Luistro kung ano-anong mga nakapile na kaso kay Vice President. Umiikot lang daw kasi sa confidential fund kung paano naubos ni VP Sara sa 11 days lang ang 125 million. Obvious na merong korupsyon talaga. Malilaw na ninakaw talaga ang pera. Pinagtanggol naman si VP Sara Duterte ng mga kaalyado niya pero hindi sila umubra. Isa-isa na silang pinahiya ng prosekusyon, hindi na sila pinaporma. Kaya ito, sabay-sabay nating panoorin kung paano si VP Sara Duterte. Grabe, nagulat, binasahan na ng impeachment. Inilabas na ang ebidensya, binulgar ng Vice President. Tara, panoorin natin ito.
Today, we move to substance, the heart of impeachment. And right now, we focus on only two complaints, the third and fourth impeachment complaints. Kung kahapon ay naging technical ang ating usapan, ngayon naman ay hihimayin at susuriin natin ang mismong laman ng bawat reklamo. Dito natin titingnan kung ang mga paratang ay umaabot sa pamantayan para sa impeachment. This is the stage where we ask, do the allegations rise to the level of impeachable offenses? Do these complaints meet the constitutional threshold to move forward? And importantly, are the allegations credible enough to justify moving forward with the process? To answer these questions, we must read the third and fourth complaints thoroughly. Parehas pong makapal ang mga ito. 98 pages ang third complaint, 72 pages ang fourth complaint, at pareho po itong may kalakip na napakaraming dokumento. Kung susumahin natin lahat at kasama ang mga kalakip na dokumento, lampas 900 pages ang third impeachment complaint at halos 800 pages ang fourth impeachment complaint. Hindi ito biro. Ito ay seryosong mga paratang na nangangailangan ng seryosong pagsusuri. Ang bawat pahina ay may katanungan. At ang bawat katanungan ay nangangailangan ng sapat na kasagutan. This is meticulous, detailed work that demands careful review and our full attention. Once again, let me reiterate, at this stage, we are not determining the guilt. We are not weighing the evidence. The only question before us is there enough in these complaints to justify moving forward with the impeachment process? Ito bang nakasaad dito? Sapat ba itong dahilan para sa impeachment?
Sa aking pong presentasyon ngayon, I tried to paraphrase these averments para mas naiintindihan. Mga tinagalog ko nga po yung iba para naintindihan. So it's just really an overview of what you see in the screen as constituting the allegations of facts. So ang sinasabi po, barely months into office, on August 22, 2022, VP Sara requested 250 million in confidential funds from the DBM for the OVP's good governance program, supposedly. That's paragraphs 22 to 23. Only 125 million was approved for release in the last quarter of 2022. That's paragraph 24. Itong 125 million na ito ay in-encash, inilagay sa 4 na traveling bags at dinala sa OVP. That's paragraph 27. Sa utos umano ni VP Sara, iniabot ito kay Colonel Raymond Dante Lachica at ibinigay sa ibang tao. That's under paragraphs 27 and 31. So kasama po yan sa ninalaman ng affidavit ni Ramil Madriaga which is Annex A. Para mapagtakpan kung saan napunta ang 125 million ayon sa ulat ng OVP, sa loob ng 11 araw, ang perang ito ay na-disburse sa mga safe houses, rewards, supplies, aid, and travel. That's paragraph 38. Nilagdaan ni VP Sarang liquidation report, paragraph 39, Annex B, at pinatotohanan legal ang paggamit ng pondo, paragraph 40, Annex C. Naglabas ang COA ng Audit Observation Memoranda, AOMs, dahil sa kakulangan ng documentary evidence of payments or yung DEPs sa mga disbursements, paragraphs 42 to 44. Nanatili ang deficiencies, kabilang ang questionableng reward payments at paggamit ng pondo para sa ilang items tulad ng tables, chairs, at desktop computers na walang malinaw na kaugnayan sa confidential operations. That's paragraphs 46 to 7. Ang nakakapagduda, ang 158 acknowledgement receipts ay may petsang December 2023, isang taon matapos ang sinasabing disbursement, habang ang iba pa ay walang petsa. That's paragraphs 48 to 49. Dahil dito, naglabas ang COA ng Notice of Suspension at Notice of Disallowance na sumasaklaw sa 73,287,000. Paragraphs 51, 53, Annex E. Bukod dito, noong 2023, 3 beses pang nag-withdraw ang OVP ng TIG 125 million na may kabuang halaga na 375 million. That's paragraphs 55 to 57. Noong 2024, muling napansin ng COA ang kakulangan sa dokumentasyon, paragraph 58. Sa House investigation po, before the House Committee on Good Government and Accountability, lumitaw ang mga resibong pirmado ng mga pangalang nakakaduda. Milky Sequia, Kokoy Villamin, Mary Grace Piatos, at marami pa, na may inconsistencies as hindi matukoy na identity, may ilang pangalan na walang PSA records, may mga resibo na hindi mabasa, walang petsa, o nagpapakita ng mahigit 100 disbursements sa isang araw, kabilang ang mga resibong nakapetsa sa panahong wala pa ang pondo. That's paragraphs 61 to 69. What began as a 125 million confidential fund release evolved into repeated cash withdrawals, unsupported liquidations, audit findings, and disallowances. Hindi po ito isolated incident. The allegations describe a continuing pattern of disbursement without verifiable documentation, raising questions on accountability in the use of confidential public funds. These are pleaded facts of documentary irregularities and simulated liquidation. Madam Chair, these allegations, specific amounts, specific control, specific certifications, specific COA actions, spurious receipts, fictitious identities, continuing disallowances, and obstruction are ultimate facts. Kung ipagpapalagay na totoo, yung mga alegasyon na pong yan, they constitute culpable violation of plunder through malversation, technical malversation, graft and corruption, other high crimes, and betrayal of public trust. With the permission of this honorable committee, itatay up ko na po sa specific grounds yung mga ultimate facts o yung mga essential factual averments. Culpable violation of the Constitution. So, a culpable violation is not a mere technical breach. Ito ay sinasadya at mulat na pagsasawalang bahala sa tungkuling konstitusyonal. Inaasahan sa mga opisyal na maging tapat sa tungkulin at sumunod sa batas. The complaint pleads ultimate facts, as I said, of custody, control, and affirmative acts. Paragraphs 149, 151, and 153 further allege that VP Sara was the accountable officer for over 500 million pesos and that no disbursement could occur without her approval. Paragraphs 154 to 155 allege she directed the preparation, encashment, and delivery of 125 million. These are not passive omissions. These are affirmative exercises of authority. The complaint further alleges repeated COA audit findings, a notice of suspension and disallowance, backdated acknowledgement receipts, and non-existent signatories and alleged interference with congressional inquiry. Taken together, control, approval, audit red flags, simulated documentation, and alleged obstruction, these pleaded facts, if admitted as true, constitute a willful breach of constitutional fiduciary duty. Graft and corruption. Kung ipagpapalagay na totoo ang mga alegasyon, pumapasok ito sa Section 3E ng RA 3019. Ang pag-encash at pag-disburse ng 125 million sa opisyal na kapasidad, kasabay ng backdated receipts, fictitious names, at paulit-ulit na COA findings ay nagpapakita ng evident bad faith. At dahil may hindi bababa sa 73 million na may notice of disallowance, malinaw na may undue injury to the government. Ang ganitong pattern ng unsupported disbursement ay sapat upang bumuo ng graft and corruption. Other high crimes. Alam niyo po, ang other high crimes, just like betrayal of public trust, more encompassing, because these are not confined, high crimes are not confined to technical penal definitions. They encompass serious misconduct that fundamentally undermines constitutional governance, including any act, omission, or course of conduct that renders a public official unworthy to remain in office. Kabilang dito ang mga gawain o asal ng mga opisyal na maaaring maging pamantayan para tanggalin sa katungkulan. Ang maling paggamit ng confidential funds, simulated liquidation, at paghadlang sa mga mekanismo ng oversight ay tuwirang nagpapapurol sa mekanismo ng pananagutan ng mga institusyon. If admitted as true, such conduct erodes confidence in high office and disrupts the faithful execution of the laws, which makes the VP unworthy to remain in office, that rises to the level of other high crimes. Betrayal of public trust does not require penal conviction. It asks whether the alleged conduct renders the official unworthy of the trust reposed in the office. Confidential funds operate largely on institutional trust. Kung ang 500 million ay inilabas ng cash, may questionableng dokumentasyon, paulit-ulit na na-flag ng COA at sinundan pa ng umano'y pakikialam sa oversight, kung ipagpapalagay na totoo ang mga ito ay malinaw na pagtataksil sa tiwala ng bayan. That is not an administrative lapse. That is gross faithlessness in the stewardship of public funds. Pwede na po ba ako mag-proceed sa second ground, Madam Chair?
That supports only the first article of impeachment, your first ground.
Yes,
Yes,
Madam
but
Chair.
if you can please shorten your manifestation with respect to the 5 succeeding grounds, because I understand you have 6 grounds in total for the third impeachment complaint.
Yes,
Because
Madam Chair.
anyway, during the deliberation, you will be allowed to respond to the comments and observation of the justice members.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Rodriguez.
may I request that we go ground by ground? The presentation of the Honorable former Senator, former Secretary of Justice, Congresswoman Laila, is that there's a first ground properly enumerated. So if possible, we can now comment on the presentation and also the ground number 1 of the complaint of the Father Sabalya. May I therefore request that we do that ground by ground. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The request of the Honorable Rodriguez is to open the deliberation immediately after her manifestation for the first ground of the impeachment complaint.
And for
Right?
Madam Chair, for each ground for that matter. I
For
think.
each ground. Yes. And you
Yes.
just concluded with the first ground.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. So, perhaps for continuity of the flow of our discussion, we will be abiding to the request of the Honorable Rodriguez that after the manifestation for the first ground, we will be opening the floor for deliberation on the first ground of impeachment of the third impeachment complaint. But before we proceed to that, let me read the first ground to summarize the discussions of the endorser. The first ground for the third impeachment complaint, Vice President Duterte committed culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayed the public trust by committing plunder and/or malversation, graft and corruption, and other high crimes in amassing and converting the amount of not less than 500 million pesos from the confidential funds allocated to the office of the Vice President for the years 2022 and 2023. With that, we are opening the floor for comments and manifestations of the Justice members.
Wait lang mga boss, kung nakaabot na kayo sa part ng video na to, baka gusto nyo munang mag-subscribe sa bago nating YouTube channel. Doon na kasi tayo mag-a-upload ng mga reaction videos. Nakapin sa comment section ang link. I-click nyo lang para makapag-subscribe. Pag nakapag-subscribe na kayo, i-comment nyo lang ang location nyo para ma-shoutout ko kayo pag nag-upload na tayo doon ng video. Tara, tuloy na natin to.
Thank you. Any other more question? Any other member who wish to manifest on the first ground of impeachment of the third impeachment complaint? The Honorable Suntay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, sa ating mga kasamahan dito sa komite, bago tayo pumasok sa substance ng complaint number 3, mahalagang balikan muna natin ang tungkulin natin sa ilalim ng rules of impeachment. Ang mandato ng committee ito ay simple, ngunit mabigat. Tiyakin na ang bawat impeachment complaint na dinala sa kapulungan ay pumasa sa pamantayan ng batas. Kaya ang panawagan ko sa bawat miyembro ay pairali natin ang parehong antas ng pagsusuri na inaasahan sa anumang legal proceedings. Maingat, patas at walang kinikilingan. Ang tanong sa harap natin ngayon ay hindi kung political controversy, kundi kung ang complaint ba ay naglalaman ng ultimate facts na kung ipagpapalagay na totoo, ay bumubuo ng impeachable offense sa ilalim ng Rule 3, Section 5. Mahalaga rin tandaan natin na meron na tayong established standards ang committee ito. Dahil ng ilang linggo lang na nakaraan, dumaan rin sa committee na ito yung impeachment complaint laban sa Pangulong Marcos. Mula sa mga naunang disposisyon ng impeachment complaints, malinaw na sinabi ng komite na ito na hindi sapat ang mga aligasyon na nakaantabay lamang sa administrative process, audit observation, o konklusyon na walang malinaw na factual particulars tulad ng unlawful acts, personal participation, o personal gain. Sa parehong pamantayan na iyon, dapat natin suriin ang complaint 3 and 4. Kung ang mga aligasyon ba ay tunay na naglalatag ng impeachable offense o kung ang mga ito ay naglalarawan lamang ng mga pangyayaring hindi pa naman napapatunayan na illegal na gawain. Ang diskusyon na ito na nais kong buksan ay nakatuon dito sa pamantayan na ito. Now, dadako na ako sa aligasyon. On complaint 3, naisaad na on August 22,
If I may interrupt, Honorable Suntay, we are deliberating on a per ground basis.
Yes.
We are only on the first ground.
I'm on the first ground, Madam
Thank you.
Chair. It was just an opening statement. On August 22, 2022, as alleged, VP Sara requested an additional amount of 250 million for confidential funds, as was stated by the Honorable Congresswoman Laila De Lima. The allegation establishes only that the respondent requested confidential funds. Requesting funds is part of the budget execution process and is not illegal per se. The complaint does not allege that the request violated any law or constitutional prohibition. Thus, no impeachable offense was pleaded. On paragraph 24, it stated, only 125 million was approved for release for the office. But the signing alone constitute an impeachable offense? Signing of a disbursement voucher is a ministerial or administrative act necessary for fund release. The complaint does not allege that the voucher was falsified or illegal. Therefore, the paragraph does not plead any unlawful overt act. On paragraph 27, the cash was placed into 4 traveling bags. VP Sara was, as alleged, even assuming that the instructions was given The allegation describes operational handling of confidential funds. Dahil ang disbursement ng confidential funds, hindi naman cheque ang ini-issue sa mga confidential agent. Naturally, you would need cash to disburse for to be distributed. At 4 p.m., as alleged on paragraph 28, December 20, Acosta gave, ito yung tungkol sa handling raw ng funds, Colonel La Chica gave the full amount of 125 million. The paragraph describes a transfer between subordinates. No allegations is made that the respondent received the funds or personally benefited, which is very important, yung personal benefit. Handling of funds, the distribution should benefit someone. We are trying to impeach the Vice President. Does this distribution of money, of the confidential funds, ultimately benefited the Vice President? I read through all the entirety of the complaint, and there is no specific allegation that the money was indeed, that the money indeed went to the Vice President. On paragraph 37, using her subordinates and the VPSG, this is a conclusory allegation unsupported by factual details. The complaint does not specify the amount allegedly taken, the benefit obtained, the assets acquired. Under Rule 3, Section 5, conclusions do not constitute ultimate facts. The complaint further alleges that the Vice President disbursed the amount in 11 days. You know, we have to take note. The request from the Office of the Vice President was made on August 20, 2022. The funds were approved by the President and downloaded to the Office of the Vice President on December 20. 11 days before the end of the calendar year. So, but the question is, does rapid disbursement alone constitute an impeachable offense? Does it establish illegality? Confidential funds may be disbursed quickly due to operational requirements. The complaint fails to show the unlawful diversion. Saan ba ginamit yung confidential funds? COA issued, it is true that COA issued its first audit observation memorandum. But an audit observation memorandum is a preliminary audit finding, requesting clarification. It does not establish liability nor show that respondents personally falsified documents. It was also alleged that COA issued a notice of disallowance on August 8, 2024 for items totaling 73 million. But a notice of disallowance establishes potential administrative liability subject to appeal. It does not automatically establish criminal conduct or an impeachable offense. Now, ang kailangan natin malaman, is there a final audit observation issued by the COA? O wala? Because I was going through the complaint, there was no mention of a final audit observation. If there was, then it was not contained in the complaint. So, Madam Chairman, with regards to the first allegation, on my part, these are my observations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Since I observe that we are beginning to become passionately engaged in our deliberation, I am reminding the justice members to limit the manifestation into 5 minutes. And the committee secretariat are requested to be observant on the allowable time given to each member. May we ask the endorser to comment, to respond to the observations of the Honorable Suntay.
Madam Chair, may I request that he will hear first all the observations so that he will have an entire response.
If for the sake of continuity of the
Because
flow
I
of
have
thoughts,
also my
same observation?
I have different observations.
Yes, let us hear
Okay.
first the comment of the endorser to the observation of Honorable Suntay, and then we will be calling you Honorable Rodriguez. Honorable De Lima?
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, the VP herself is the ultimate responsible officer or accountable officer of all these expenses or all these disbursements and spending of the confidential funds. Malinaw po na sinaad sa paragraphs 149, 151, and 153 that VP Sara was the accountable officer for over 500 million and that no disbursement could occur without her approval. And it was also further alleged that she directed the preparation, encashment, and delivery of 125 million. Meron hong testimonya na sinasabi na yung mga yon, yung mga funds na yon ay hindi naman talaga nagamit dun sa mga dapat ipaggamit ng confidential funds. And then kanina po, yung sinabi po ni Congressman Suntay, dun sa wala namang sinasabi doon na mali yung pagkakagamit ng mga confidential funds. May I direct the attention of the Honorable Committee, Annexes C, F, H, and I are certifications that says expenses were incurred with agencies, intel, and confidential operations. And based on the audit observation memoranda issued by the COA, ito ay hindi naman talaga na ginamit dun sa mga totoong purposes of the confidential and intel funds, but actually were wrongly disbursed to wrong persons and for the wrong purposes. Yung paggamit ng mga confidential funds na katulad ng ginagamit para sa safe houses, sa tables and chairs, sa laptops, nakasabi po yan lahat dito, at that is a misuse of confidential funds alongside yung pagtatakip rin. Kasi remember, when the committee then requested from COA any finding, any certification with respect to the spending of the OVP's funds, pinigilan pa nga ito ng kanyang chief of staff na wag gawin ng COA. This is a form of obstruction, and that is under her instructions. And clear po sa mga dokumento na ito na mali talaga yung paggamit ng mga confidential intel funds. Nakita natin yung mga acknowledgements receipts ng mga which appear to be questionable and fictitious names. These were approved by the Vice President herself. May pirma siya sa certain documents as attached. So I don't see the validity of the argument na walang proof na may kinalaman si VP sa paggastos ng mali ng confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President.
Thank you. Again, for purposes of an orderly deliberation, except for the manifestation which is tantamount to sponsorship with respect to the determination of sufficiency in substance, the questions and manifestations of the justice members are limited to 5 minutes. The answer of the endorser is limited as well to 5 minutes. If you wish to continue with your point of argument, you will be given your opportunity on the second round. That is in the interest of fairness and equality because the other members wishes to make their manifestation as well.
Madam Chair, let us assuming tama po yung sinasabi ni Congressman Bong Suntay na tama po siya kanina. Ito nga pong mga pondo, kung paano po tinransfer sa OBP, talaga naman pong doon po, wala naman tayo nakikita talagang pagkakamali pa. And in fact, trabaho po to ng Vice President as head of agency, mag-disburse, tama po ba? Lahat po ng mga dokumento po, mirma kung ano po dapat niyang pirmahan. Tama po naman po yun. Subalit po, kung titignan po natin, dito po sa paragraph 27. Sabi po dito, the cash was placed into 4 traveling bags and brought to the OBP on the same day. Thereafter, BP Sara instructed Acosta to release the 125 million pesos to Colonel La Chica. At dito po, sabi po dito, Acosta, pursuant to VP's instruction, personally gave Colonel La Chica the full amount of 125 million pesos. Now, my question is, ang SDO po ay si Acosta. Ano po ang papel ni Colonel La Chica dito po sa 125? And that is upon the instruction of the Vice President. Dito po ba, wala po tayong nakikitang diferensya? Now, if I remember it correctly, during the committee hearing, marami po nagtanong, after La Chica, ano na? Yun, dito po natin makikita ngayon, papasok yung statement ni Madriaga. The affidavit of Ramil Madriaga, which was attached as Annex A of this complaint affidavit, or dito po sa impeachment complaint, which can be found on page 13. At dito po sa statement ni Ramil Madriaga, sinabi po niya, and I quote, makikita po dito yung conversation sa page 29, sa paragraph 29, 30, 31, 32. Sabi po dito, Colonel Dennis Nolasco sent a certain Ramil Madriaga a text message instructing him to see the former. So Madriaga went to see Colonel Nolasco at Ultra Pasig City. He arrived at the place around 1:30 p.m. Next, they waited for Colonel La Chica. Ito na po, si Colonel La Chica. In two DepEd vehicles that ultimately arrived past 3 p.m. Upon arriving, Colonel La Chica brought 4 duffel bags containing millions of peso. So ito na po yung duffel bags na winidraw po nila sa Land Bank at binibigay ngayon kay Madriaga. In particular, paragraph 32, Colonel La Chica instructed Madriaga to deliver a duffel bag to a mayor in Laguna. Hindi ko po alam kung yung mayor po may kinalaman sa intelligence gathering. So Madriaga delivered it to a certain individual at Cabuyao, Laguna. Then he was told by Colonel La Chica to deliver another duffel bag to a comedy bar owned and frequented by San Sebastian Law alumni located in the Timog area. Paragraph 33. When Madriaga arrived at the place, he saw OBP spokesperson Raymond Monsayak. Parenthetically, Monsayak was BP Sara's classmate. Subsequently, Monsayak signaled Madriaga to go upstairs and leave the money at the office. He followed suit and left. Monsayak did not speak to him. Paragraph 34 says, next, Madriaga drove a car to the parking compound of the office of the Ombudsman. He also brought another duffel bag of money and placed it inside the car. When he arrived at the Ombudsman compound, a guard signaled for him to park in a specific reserved spot, and he did. He placed the keys on top of the left front wheel and left. He then saw someone retrieve the keys and drive the car away. Within the same period, Colonel Nolasco gave Madriaga a white Toyota Vios with money in the amount of around 80 million pesos. Following Colonel Nolasco's instruction, Madriaga drove the white Vios to a parking lot inside SM Mega Mall, parked and locked the car, placed the keys on top of the left front wheel, and moved away. He then waited for someone who retrieved the keys and drove off. On another day, Madriaga saw the same motor Vios driven by the wife of Ombudsman Prosecutor Ryan Ray Kilala, named Rhea, who was a classmate of BP Sara at San Sebastian Law. Now,
If I may interrupt, Honorable Chua, you are more than 5 minutes, so kindly wind up.
I will already wrap up my statement. Madam Chair, dito po yung sinasabi kanina ni Congressman Rupos na conspiracy. So dito na po napunta yung sinasabi po ni Congressman na hinahanap po natin kanina yung 125 million with all the documents. Kaya po yung COA naglabas ng AOM, naglabas ng kung ano-ano mga pangalan na eventually nakita po natin yung mga pangalan ay hindi makita ngayon. So ito na po yung sagot sa tanong kung saan po napunta yung pera na binigay kay La Chica. Based po ito sa affidavit ni Madriaga, which is attached in this complaint. So therefore, there is a recital of facts which constitutes the offense charged. Thank you po.
You read the name of Nolasco and La Chica. Just for the record, Congressman Joel Chua, who are these personalities? Nolasco and La Chica. You read that from the affidavit.
They are both, I think, security details of the Vice President.
Nolasco and La Chica.
Yes.
Thank you. Would you like to comment, Honorable De Lima?
To add,
Yes.
yung mga ninarrate po na based on the complaint ni Honorable Congressman Chua, pinapakita po na yung 125 million na yon hindi napunta sa dapat puntahan ng such a sensitive funds as confidential or intelligence funds. We can actually say that these were simply appropriated by VP Sara for her personal gain. Kapag hindi napunta dun sa dapat puntahan, at sabi nga sa affidavit ni Ramil Madriaga, ay ito ay napunta sa iba-ibang tao na ano ba sila? Hindi naman sila part of anything. Wala namang sinabi, there was no report, neither the Vice President nor the OVP reported any loss of the 125 million confidential funds. Dahil nga, napunta sa mga ganyan. So that is actually personal gain for our own personal purposes, whatever it is. Bakit napunta dun sa mga personalidad na yon as testified to by Colonel La Chica and Colonel Nolasco, which are part of the Office of the Vice President Security Detail. These are actually the head. Nolasco is the head, and also La Chica is, sila talaga yung mga supposedly pagkakatiwalaan ng Vice President. And so, it shows personal gain. Gusto ko lang pong sabihin at this point, na tungkol naman po sa plunder, yes, I agree that it's more of a conspiracy. So it's a better, it's a better theory than just plunder, because plunder committed through conspiracy. Let us remember po na pang malversation of public funds, it's plunder committed through a series of acts of malversation. So a series of acts of malversation can lead to plunder, especially if it meets the monetary threshold of 50 million or more than 50 million. Thank you.
Any other member who wished to manifest on
Madam-
the first ground? The Honorable
Madam Chair.
Marcoleta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madalas pong binabanggit yung notices of disallowance and audit observation memo. Para po sa akin, ito po ay mababaw na ground to constitute an impeachable offense. Unang-una po, ang notices of disallowance ay appealable, they are contestable. Yung pong audit observation memo is just a memo issued by the COA for deficiencies in documentation not involving pecuniary loss. Ang notices of disallowance po ay pwede pang i-appeal ng Office of the Vice President sa regional level ng COA, sa commission proper ng COA, at pwede pang humantong sa Supreme Court. The notices of disallowance does not presuppose guilt on the part of the Vice President. It is not tantamount to a prosecution. Kaya wag po natin itong gamitin, itong mga dokumento na ito, as if meron ng ginawang kamalian ang ating Vice Presidente. Dahil dito po pumapasok yung procedural due process kung ito pa'y accorded sa ating Vice Presidente. At isa pa po, yung pong mga ginawa ng Quadcom nung nakaraang taon, yung pong pagbubukas ng mga envelope, I don't think yan po ay kasama sa trabaho ng Kongreso. Dahil ang pag-audit po ay trabaho ng COA. Meron po tayong Latin legal maxim, potestas delegata non delegari. Delegated power should not be delegated further.
Reminded to confine the manifestation to the subject matter of the impeachment
Opo,
proceeding.
this is pertaining to the...
This is not
the
about
envelope.
Quadcom. This is the impeachment proceeding on the 2 complaints against the Vice President. Please stick to the subject matter of this impeachment proceeding.
But the envelope, yung opening of the envelopes, hindi po ba may kinalaman
If you have
ito?
concerns about the proceedings of Quadcom, perhaps you should address it in the other forums, but not in the impeachment proceedings. The Honorable Marcoleta is so reminded
Opo,
to stick to the subject matter.
yun lang naman po, Madam Chair, notices of disallowance. Ito po ay hindi mga dokumento lamang na ito ay appealable, contestable at hindi ito nangangahulugan ng Vice Presidente ay may ginawa ng irregular dahil ito ay contestable. Yun lamang po ang aking obserbasyon. At ma'am, if I may react dun sa earlier remark made by the chair, I think I was alluded to kasi nagkaroon po ng spectacle kahapon.
The chair just adopted the manifestation of the Honorable Marcoleta yesterday during our determination of form.
Opo, yung pong I am speaking out of premonition. Actually, I'm not speaking out of mere premonition. I was speaking out of experience.
But that's
Opo.
what the committee heard. Nevertheless, Honorable Marcoleta, this is likewise not a subject matter of this impeachment proceeding.
Opo, winawarningan ko lang po ang audience na to observe proper decorum. Wala naman po sigurong masama doon, Madam Chair, di po ba?
But of course, for as long as the public are not committing any offense inside this committee hearing, then there is no basis at all to call their attention or to even mention their name.
Okay, ma'am, pero nagkaroon po ng president kasi sa Senado. Salamat po.
Honorable De Lima, would you like to comment?
Very briefly lang po. Okay, the audit findings under the Audit Observation Memorandum may be subject to appeal, appealable, and they can still be questioned. But the fact remains that there are already evidence, there are already documentary evidence, kasama nga na po dito na naka-attach sa complaint, about those questionable disbursements, the use of confidential funds for not legal purposes, for confidential intelligence funds. So this committee, since it's scrutinizing now the very complaint before us, has the discretion and has the duty and the prerogative to do its own scrutiny and analysis of these documents, irrespective of any final COA finding. Of course, it is ideal that we should have the COA final finding, but the preliminary findings are already the red flags. The preliminary findings already show those acts constitutive of impeachable offenses. So it's not really a hindrance to this committee not to consider first those preliminary findings pending the final finding of the COA.
Let us be reminded as well that impeachment proceeding is a sui generis proceeding. This is not a criminal proceeding, neither is this an administrative nor a civil proceeding.
Ngayon, ikaw bilang Pilipino, ano ang masasabi mo at reaksyon sa balitang ito? Mag-iwan ka ng komento mo sa ibaba at atin pong babasahin isa-isa.